Okay, hello. This is YouTube Live. I have never gone live before on YouTube, so this is really exciting. It's a lot of new stuff. Like my Beyond Type 1 shirt. Boom. Um, for those of you who don't know, I am newly part of the Global Ambassadors Council on Beyond Type 1. They're awesome. Go check them out. I wanted to check out YouTube Live, so I figured why not just jump on and go for it, right? So I wanted to do a little Q&A thing to, first of all, figure out how this chat thing works. Let's see. I guess there's a little chat box. You guys can talk to me too. So if anyone has like diabetes questions, I want to answer them. I was thinking I might be doing a weekly thing or a monthly thing. I'm not sure yet. Depends on what the demand looks like. But I would like to jump on maybe Sunday nights or Saturday nights, sometime where a lot of people are available to hop on and ask questions in here. I know on our Instagram page at FTF Warrior, there were a lot of questions about where I put my new Dexcom sensor. So I have the Dexcom G6, and I posted about trying out a new location. I was waiting for it to warm up. It warmed up. It works. It's a little bit painful. I'm going to show you where I usually put my Dexcom, usually right here. So right there, top of the tricep, and just below the deltoid, I have it slanted, so it comes at an angle, and it misses my muscle, because if I do have a workout, like with my arms and do some kind of arm exercises, I don't want the muscle activating with the wire inside of it, because that would cause a lot of pain. And so usually it's between the deltoid and the tricep muscle. However, this time I want to try something new, because the slant of the Dexcom made it a little bit weird to sleep, because then when I would lie on my back, it would kind of put pressure on the Dexcom from a sideways angle, and I was worried that that would kind of shift the wire too much and I would lose reading in my sleep, and I don't want to lose Dexcom readings in my sleep. So tried out a new area that I saw a buddy of mine doing. For those of you who know, Type 1 Livabetic is his username, or David Mina. He's another Beyond Type 1 Global Council member. I saw him putting it on different locations in his arm. I believe it was him who had one inside, in between the bicep and tricep, and that looked painful to me, so I don't want to try that just yet. But I tried on the back of the arms, the very back, instead of on the side between triceps and deltoid. I put it right there. It's on the actual back of my arm. As you can see, we got some blood. So a little bit of a bleeder, not bad, but I will say it was a little bit painful today. I had a workout where I did arms, and during my triceps portion of the workout, didn't feel great. It wasn't super painful, which is good. It's a good sign. And whenever it was painful, I could just shake my arm out, and or like, pinch a little bit, move it around, and the pain would go away. But then every once in a while I have to do that again. So I might not be using this spot again. However, I don't know. Maybe I'll shift it up like an inch higher and maybe miss the tricep muscle. Maybe that'll be fine. So it's trial and error. That's the best way to find out. Find out what works for you. Maybe this spot's going to hurt like crazy for you. Maybe this spot works perfect for you. I don't know. I've seen the Dexcom in a lot of locations. I've seen it in some interesting ones that I have not tried out yet myself. I've seen it on people's calves of their leg. I've seen it on the outside of the quadricep. I've seen it on upper buttocks. I've seen it on inside of the leg. I've tried lower back, stomach, side of the arm, back of the arm. I saw it once on somebody's trap right here on their upper back. It's like, wow, I've never seen that before. I haven't seen it since, but it was fascinating. They said that that's the best spot for them. They get good readings every time on that. Hey, Jeff, thanks for the comment. Oh man, I'm here to help. I'm so thankful that people are finding my videos useful. I want to bring hope to the Type 1 community, the Type 2 community as well. And I want to spread my knowledge of diabetes. And so anything that I can do to help, I am more than happy to offer that. So again, anyone who finds this video when it's not live, because I am live right now on YouTube, anyone who finds it when it's not live, please comment. Let me know if you guys do want more Q&A type stuff like this, where I hop on live and we can discuss stuff about diabetes, about exercise, about nutrition, about the mental health side of diabetes. I have some experience with that, and I'm full honesty about everything. I have no problem sharing my stories about my battle with mental health in the past, and I hope that helps people out there, and I hope is that it brings light to an area of diabetes that has not gotten much attention yet. And I hope that people understand it's okay to have a rough day. It's okay to have a rough week or a rough month. Diabetes is a lot, and it takes a lot to take control of it. But once you do have control, it makes life a lot easier, makes life more predictable, and you're able to enjoy life a little bit more. And I think that's what we're all after. We can all agree that enjoying life a little more can mean a lot, especially to a person living with diabetes. So if anyone has questions, type them in. If anybody is watching this later, just comment on it, and I will respond to your comments personally. And we'll see if we can work out a time, or even if there is interest in doing Q&As like this on a more regular basis. And today, I was actually, oh, heck yeah. Sorry, Jeff, just saw your comment. Getting a Dexcom and a pump, incredible choice. Or I don't know if it's a choice or if you've been fighting insurance for it. I know that myself and my sister is a type 1 diabetic as well, we had to fight insurance for our Dexcoms. It took us a while. I think it took both of us a year each to get that on our insurance plan. But the Dexcom pairs actually with one of the pumps, and full disclosure, I am partnered with them, but it's with Tandem. So I'll show you guys. This guy right here, Tandem T Slim, is incredible. And let's see, you guys can see that's really annoying high right there. I hit, what was that? Oof, it's like 200. And went for a 20-minute walk, came right back down. I'm at 106 right now. So just so you guys know, exercise is very beneficial for people living with diabetes. It fixes most of my stubborn highs, and whenever it doesn't, some insulin or a hot shower can do some extra wonders. So walking is super, super great for lowering blood sugars. It's also great for a number of other things like increasing insulin sensitivity, which that's a whole other topic, but we can talk about that on a different live. But back to the original statement I was making. The Dexcom pairs with this pump, and I'll show you on here again. You see that red strip, that red line right there, vertical line? That is when Dexcom said, hey, he's going to go low within the next 30 minutes. And then it shut off the insulin in my pump. So instead of going low, it stopped me. I saw arrow down at 106, then arrow slanted down at 98, and then stable at 100. I mean, how incredible is that, right? It's not only stopped me from going low, but it also resumed insulin right away, which meant instead of going right back up, it kept me stable at 100. I'm at 106 now. I've been there for about an hour, and that's called basal IQ. And I know that Medtronic has a similar one that they've actually, I can't remember if they're in closed loop or not, but I know that in the looping community, for those of you who don't know, there's a whole community of what they call loopers, and they've essentially hacked the insulin pumps and the CGMs to communicate with each other so that it does all that stuff in the background all the time, and it does it when you're going high as well. But basal IQ is Tandem's version of it. It is the most accurate thus far, and it's incredible. I cannot remember the last time that I've had to have sugar to treat a low. I mean, there are still lows, but basal IQ essentially removes most of the risk. Not all, nothing is perfect, but in my sleep, for example, I get to sleep through the whole night now. I don't wake up with lows, and it has changed my life. So that's super exciting. So Jeff, I'm really excited for your wife getting the Tandem and Dexcom. It will change her life, and it makes diabetes a lot easier to handle. There are obviously still, little things that happen. It is still possible to go low. You take too much insulin or you exercise too soon after an injection. There are a number of reasons why we go low, but it makes it a lot easier, makes it a lot less frequent. So let's see. What are some things that you do to help with burnout or emotional fatigue? That's a tough one. Number one, I'm going to say, and this is Candace, thank you for your question. I'm going to say reward yourself for the little things. It's not about changing everything and becoming better overnight, because that's just not going to happen. It won't. I've been through some really dark times in my life. Some things before I had diabetes and some things after I had diabetes. For example, when I was diagnosed with type 1, I was 19 years old and I fell back into depression. I lost hope. I didn't want to go on living. And it was a very dark time for me, but finding things in life that you can be thankful for, be grateful for, things that you can look at yourself and say, I'm doing a great job. That can make a big difference in your life. And going through something like depression, our mind focuses on the negative and it holds on to the negativity. It makes you want to be hyper focused on what's going wrong, and it makes you think that nothing's going right. But take some time. There we go. Take maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes every morning to think about one thing that you're grateful for and one thing that you're looking forward to in that day. Just a little sprinkle of positivity in your morning is going to start your day off on the right foot. It's going to help you thinking a little bit more positive, and then through time, you will notice that it becomes easier to find good things throughout your day. And understand that you can give yourself credit. The diabetes is a lot to take on, and it's something that we never get a break from, ever. There are no breaks. You're working very hard, 24/7. And that's something that not many people can grasp that concept of. And just to take a step back, look at yourself in the mirror and say, hey, you're doing a great job. You are attacking this disease. You're fighting it every day. And I'm proud of you. Seriously, talk to yourself in the mirror. Tell yourself that you're doing a great job. Just sprinkle little bits of positivity. Reward yourself. Hey, I tested my blood sugar at every meal today. I tested my blood sugar once today. Wherever you're at, reward yourself for those small improvements. And as long as you try to keep improving, then it's going to keep progressing. You're going to get better and better. Just don't beat yourself up when it doesn't get better the next day. When you don't go from 0 to 100% in one day, because that's just not going to happen. It took me many months, a long time to recover from some of those dark times. So give yourself some grace. You're doing a great job. It's a lot of work, but keep up the fight. That's what I always love to say. Keep up the fight, because it is a fight, and it's a daily battle that we have to continue on with. We don't have a choice, but we're doing it. We're fighting hard, and we're going to get it. Exactly, Jeff. You are stronger than diabetes. You can do it. I love it. Tanya, my 2-year-old daughter has it, and I try my best. I've heard a lot of stories from parents, and it's a lot. It is a lot to take on as a parent, as if having a kid wasn't difficult enough, right? And my wife and I, we don't have any kids yet, but we are talking about it, and that is definitely something that comes up in conversation. Is the possibility of us passing on our autoimmune diseases to our children. Myself with type 1 diabetes, my wife has Crohn's disease, and it's a very real possibility that we have to prepare ourselves for. And I've jumped into a few Facebook groups where parents talk about having their children that have type 1 at a young age, and how it drains you, and how you try your best day in and day out. You stay up all night long. You wake up every 2 or 3 hours to check their blood sugars. You give them juices when they don't want to drink juice. You have to convince them to eat this stuff when they're full, because if they don't, they're going to drop into a low blood sugar. And how emotionally taxing that is on you guys. Sleep deprivation, how you feel like you're giving your all and you have nothing left to give, but you have to because their lives depend on it. And again, it's a similar struggle. I mean, not similar struggle, but a similar piece of advice I would want to give you that I would give for mental health persons with diabetes going through that battle, is that acknowledge that you are giving your best, that you're putting a lot of work into this. And she may fight you through childhood. She may not take care of herself through a section of that process. I've talked to a lot of type 1s that grew up with type 1, and they say that their parents are what got them through their teenage years because they didn't want to deal with it. They just kind of shifted it aside and said, I don't really have to worry about this. Stop taking their insulin, stop testing their blood sugar. I'll tell you, I got diagnosed at 19. So I was a teenager. I liked to pretend that I didn't have diabetes. And I was 19. I can't imagine what it was like, someone going through that at age 12, 13, 14. But I can tell you that the parents are the ones that keep them on their feet. The parents are the ones that are working hard and don't get a lot of credit for it. But then when these kids grow up, they get into their 20s, their 30s, they look back and say, Mom and Dad, you guys helped me through this. You guys are the reason that I'm here. Thank you so much. And it's all worth it. You guys, you put in a lot of work. You put in a lot of fight. And I personally am proud of you guys for what you're doing. It's a lot. Let's see what we got in the comments. Oh yeah, Tanya, I didn't see that. You never expected her to have it because you don't have it and her dad doesn't have it. That unfortunately happens. When I was first diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, they told me that it was a hereditary thing. Like, okay, so who else has it? Your parents or is it your grandparents? And I said, no, nobody. Nobody has ever had type 1 diabetes in my entire family line. I mean, maybe someone in like the 30s or something, and maybe they died from it because they weren't diagnosed in time and they were unaware of it. But no one has ever been diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Why am I the first one? It's not hereditary. And then, of course, a year and a half later, my little sister got it. And I was like, all right, maybe it's hereditary. But unfortunately, type 1 is still quite a mystery. My mom actually had her friend at the age of 40 get diagnosed with type 1. I've seen stories of people at 55, 60 getting type 1. And so age is no longer a factor because we used to call it juvenile onset, right? Where it was you get diagnosed as a kid and you grew up with it. I was diagnosed at 19. Now people are getting diagnosed in their 40s, 50s, 60s. But then the hereditary thing, it's not always a factor of people having a whole family history of type 1, but in some cases it's a surprise, like me, like Tanya's daughter. And it's unfortunate. It's a lot to take on. It's a lot to learn, especially for a family that has no prior knowledge of it, I'm assuming. My parents were both, or are still, physical therapists, and they had a lot of medical knowledge, thankfully, and they had friends within the hospital system. And so when my doctors failed to educate me, they brought in their friends who were knowledgeable about diabetes and were able to educate us as a family on what diabetes was and how to take care of it. But there are still a lot of steps, a lot of strides that we have to take as a community to educate people about diabetes, about the difference between type 1 and type 2. We'll take it a step further. There are actually many kinds of diabetes: type 1, type 2, LADA, gestational, and they're discovering new ones. They said that there's I think it's 5 subsets of type 1 diabetes now. They're saying that there's 5 different types of type 1 that can be triggered by different situational things or things within your body, stressors that you put your body through. And it's just a whole new world of research. There's a lot of positive research going into it, obviously. We do not have a cure, but they are taking strides towards that. I think it was about a week and a half ago, I read that in San Francisco, they had created the first fully functioning beta cells from a stem cell, which means we're another step further, another step closer. So, I always like to think optimistically, think that we're getting closer. They do keep saying 5 more years, but I have full faith that we will get there one day, and I look forward to that day. Oh man, you guys are blowing up the comments. I love it. What else do we have here? Do you celebrate each year you go surviving type 1 day, ladies? I know that's a typo, but that's kind of funny. Oh, you corrected it. Diabetes. I do, but I did not always. I started doing this 2 years ago, and that's because I've had diabetes for over 9 years now. However, I did not know there was an online community up until about 2 years ago, which blows my mind. And unfortunately, I felt quite alone for a long time. In college, I was in the San Diego State rowing team. I was a collegiate athlete, and I was very lucky to have a friend on the rowing team who also had type 1 diabetes because I was actually diagnosed in the middle of my first rowing season. So having him there as a resource was incredible, but I went years with type 1 diabetes without knowing anything about a community. But once I found it, I learned that people celebrate their diaversaries, which is every year on your diagnosis date, or if you don't know what the diagnosis date was, then pick a day somewhere in the month. I don't know. Enjoy picking whatever day you want, but celebrating how many years you've had with diabetes. 10 years is a big one. I believe it's Lilly sends you an actual physical medal that says 10 years living with diabetes. And I'm really excited about that because it's a fight. I've been fighting this disease with all my heart, and I deserve a medal. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't go all out and celebrate. I know some people that make a whole week out of it, and they'll go have cheesecake and ice cream and go to Disneyland and do all this fun stuff. I don't go all out like that. I just take a day to acknowledge that I've made it this far, and I'm going to keep making it a lot further. I have zero complications, and I'm super proud of that. And I fully intend to live out the rest of my life with no complications. It's because of my knowledge of physical fitness as a personal trainer, my knowledge as a nutritionist, understanding how food affects my blood sugars. It's because of these things that I'm able to live a healthier life. And that's actually why I started this health coaching company for people living with diabetes, where I coach on how to select the healthy foods to better manage stable blood sugars, how to exercise without going into a low blood sugar or a high blood sugar, because I've experienced both of them before I was a personal trainer. I didn't know how it was going to affect me. And, I do one workout and end up at 300, and then I do another workout and end up at 50. And it was until I learned how this was going to affect my blood sugars that I was able to stabilize. Now, today I went into the gym and had a great workout, and I finished at 102, and it was stable. 102, perfect blood sugars. So I would say advice to everyone: learn what you can. You're going to deal with this for your whole life. You might as well learn how to take care of it. And if you need some help learning, I do have programs for everyone of all levels of education, all levels of experience with diabetes. And I coach on how to maintain stable blood sugars, and how to lower your A1C, and ultimately how to live your best life. Because we all want to live happier and healthier lives. So, I'll add a little link in the chat, because I want you guys to have some resources. I also have free resources. We've got an ebook, 5 Tips to Stabilize Your Blood Sugars. I wonder if I can put a link in here. See if that works. If you guys are able to click that. If not, just go to ftfwarrior.com. There's a Start Here button on there, and there's a free resource there for 5 Tips to Stabilize Your Blood Sugars. We're actually putting out a whole new ebook. I just finished 25 pages, and I'm not going to give away all the secrets inside of it yet, but it's a really good one. It's got just lots of awesome resources, and it's all free. Let's see what else the comments are in here. Okay. Oh, wow. Jeff, you celebrate each successful doctor's visit. That's awesome. Celebrate the little things. I'm really sorry to hear that your wife's health is declining. That's really unfortunate, but I'm very happy that you guys are choosing to focus on the positive. That's incredible. She's type 1.5. Yes, I've heard that before as well. There are new types of diabetes that we are now classifying as separations. There's actually a new study going on currently that there are people who have type 1 and type 2. And so it's type 1s, essentially, at the basic level. I won't get into the science behind it, but it's essentially a type 1 who has developed severe insulin resistance. And they're now giving things like metformin, which is an oral medication for type 2 diabetics, to type 1s, or they're giving it to type 1s. So it's like a type 1 takes insulin and takes an oral medication, metformin, to make management a little bit easier. So new studies going on all around the world. There's actually a really famous, I want to call him a doctor, but I know that he's got all kinds of degrees, and he's very well known. But Dr. Bart Roep, I believe his name is, he's leading some diabetes research in the realm of the cure, and I've been following him for a while. He's actually from the Netherlands, and for anybody who doesn't know, my name is Dutch. I'm very Dutch. I'm very tall as well. And that's a Dutch man, Dutch researcher as well. Let's see what else we got. Oh, yeah, Kennewick, man. No one in my family has it, not even type 2. Same, man. Not even type 2 in my family. I was the first one, and it's a huge bummer. I know. And it's like, okay, short rant. Diabetes, right? We didn't do anything to deserve this. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up healthy. I was an active kid. I ate all the right foods. I ate my greens most of the time. Sometimes I, gave it to the dog. But I was a healthy eater. I was an active kid and had nothing else wrong with me. And then one day, 19, boom, type 1 diabetes. Hits you like a brick wall. Ba, ba, ba. Wow, Jeff, that's a lot. I'm happy that you're on here. We might have to have a chat. I'd love to have a chat with you actually. Um, Kidney disease. Yeah, with type 1 diabetes, or honestly, anybody with autoimmune diseases in general, we are actually at higher risk for developing other autoimmune diseases as well as other organ complications. And it's more of a reason for us to take care of ourselves. And unfortunately, we don't have much of a choice because we've been dealt this stack of cards, and it can wreak havoc on a lot of people. I've actually met a lot of really inspirational type 1 diabetics who are living with 2, 3, sometimes even 4 autoimmune diseases. It can be a lot. So I'm proud of you for being on here, proud of your wife for pushing through. That's a lot to deal with. And it sounds like she's a true warrior. I wish you the best with that, with the dialysis. I know that can be, it can take a lot out of you. It's something that takes a big chunk of time as well. So my daughter has the same pump. Oh, has the same infusion sets as well, Tanya. Really? Okay. Yeah, most people. I was going to show you guys, but I can't. My infusion set's actually in my upper buttocks right now, so I'm not about to pull my pants off and show you guys on camera. Don't worry. But the infusion set that I use is actually called True Steel, which is not as popular because people think about it and they're like, True Steel. There is literal steel going into me. It's a needle. Why would I want a needle in me when I can choose a plastic cannula, right? But I was explained it this way. When I first got Tandem, the Tandem rep that was helping me out told me, yes, you can get the plastic cannula. However, people that are more active and move around a lot, I like to box and go work out and go running. She said people that are more active tend to kink the plastic cannula. So the plastic cannula, let's say it's setting right in here. No one puts it there. We'll say it's back here. If I move like that, that might kink the plastic cannula, which means insulin is no longer getting delivered to me. And I'm going to shoot up to 300, 400 and wonder what the heck happened. Wonder if I forgot to take insulin for my meal or something. And with the True Steel, it is literally a needle, a steel needle that's going into your skin. It doesn't bend though. And here's the thing, watch this, ready? I'm bouncing on top of the needle right now. I don't feel any pain. So I don't know what kind of magic that is, but they've made it in a way that I can roll over in bed without feeling pain. I can sit on top of it. I'll have this steel needle going into my leg and I'll just go sprint and not feel a thing. So if you're considering True Steel, don't be afraid of it. It really, as long as you don't hit a nerve, I've done that. That hurts. But as long as you don't hit a nerve, it doesn't hurt, which is awesome. And I've never had any occlusion alarms, which is what happens when your insulin tubing gets kinked and the insulin can't be delivered. So personally, I really prefer True Steel. But then again, I've also never used the plastic cannula because I've heard that it gets kinked, and I've seen a lot of other people have issues with insulin not being delivered, and I did not want to deal with that. So that's what I chose. That's what I've stuck with. But people do choose the plastic cannula for their own reasons, and I respect that. Let's see. Leela, I hope I'm saying that right. Leela, do you have any idea of how I can keep my Dexcom 6 on longer? As in, when I take showers, little by little, the tape comes off before the date I need to change it. Great question. For a long time, everyone's asking that question, right? You know, I'm sweating it off during the summer, or it's coming off of my showers, or it just peels off on its own. I can't get it to stick. And I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about because mine stays on no matter what, and I sweat a bunch. But over the summer, it got hot. I like to work out no matter what. I sweat when it's hot. Then I go take showers. I started to realize what people were talking about. Actually, last week, I went boxing, got really sweaty. And I think that during all the punches that I was throwing, since it was on my arm, it kind of jarred it off. And ultimately, I had to put some stuff on it. I'm going to explain right now. There's this magic stuff called Skin Tack. And I actually went and borrowed some of my sister's because I didn't buy any yet. but I'm going to have to buy some because I can't always get a hold of it. But Skin Tech, it's SKIN space TAC, I believe. It's just a bottle of liquid, and it's got a little kind of Q-tip thing on it. And what I do is I lift up, let's use this example. You lift it up, whatever part is loose, put some Skin Tech right there, put that papery, sticky stuff back down, give it a little rub, and it's like concrete. It's nuts. You let it dry, and it's stiff. Mine was the section was all the way off. After putting Skin Tech on, it stayed on for 2 days, completely fine. And then when I went to take it off, didn't even hurt. So Skin Tech's an excellent thing. Another thing you can do. So that's liquid you put under it, and you kind of press it back down. There's also, I think it's called grips, I think. There's Kinese tape. You can use Kinese tape, but there's a number of rock tapes. Another one. Just get some. Essentially, Kinese tape is what most of it is. It's a sticker you go on top, and it keeps it anchored down. Excuse me. But that takes up a lot more space. Also, hope you guys can hear me okay. I was actually planning on making this into a podcast, as you can tell. And for those of you who don't know, I have a podcast. It's called Pardon My Pancreas. I know, it's clever, right? It's actually me and my buddy Ali. He's also a type 1 diabetic. And we run this podcast together. It's a lot of fun. We interview experts, talk to doctors. We get real stories from people like you that are just trying to get through life with diabetes. And it's a ton of fun. Excuse me. Let me get some water real quick. Wow. Been on here for 30 minutes. I did not expect this. You guys are awesome. I'm going to read through the comments a little bit. Expression meds. Yep, I've heard of that one. That's a good one. Dexcom has overlay patches. True. They do offer that. Whoa, they're for free? That's awesome. I might have to check that out. Thank you, Kennewick. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly as well. Ooh, intermittent fasting as a type 1. That is a big topic. I love it. It is safe. However, first step for intermittent fasting, and it's almost the same step, is basal testing or basal rate testing. For those of you who don't know what that is, basal rates are the background insulin. So if you're on MDI or multiple daily injections, we're getting really into this. I love it. If you're on multiple daily injections, it's typically your Lantus or your Tresiba. It's the one that you take one shot a day, and it runs the background insulin for your whole 24 hours. To test that out, you need to actually, also for pump users like myself, it's the basal rates. It's the background insulin. It's micro dripping throughout the day. The background basal, whatever you want to call it, to test that, you would do a bit of an intermittent fast. And so let's say that I eat breakfast at 8 o'clock every day. If I eat breakfast at 8 o'clock, which I do, typically, I'm not going to know if my basals are correct if I'm always eating at the same time. And so what you would do is then either wait until 9, wait till 10, or to properly basal test, you would skip that meal entirely. Eat no carbs, no protein, no fats, maybe definitely drink some water. If you know that coffee or green tea doesn't affect your blood sugars, maybe have some of that to keep you feeling, what's the right word? Satiated. Like for myself, for example, I know coffee doesn't affect me, so I can have that. But for other people, they actually have to take insulin for it. Anyways, back to the topic. Basal testing is basically intermittent fasting, where you skip a meal and you watch your blood sugars. If they stay steady, you're good. Your basal rates are perfect, good to go, and you can go back to eating for that period of time. And then maybe the next day, so first day you skip breakfast, second day maybe you skip lunch, third day you skip dinner. So you can test it, or you can do a 24-hour fast. That, I like food. I get hungry real quick. That's a tough one. But the longer you can basal test, the more accurate you can know how they are. So the thing with basal testing, though, is if they start to drop, don't let yourself go low. Don't sit in the 50s and just be like, oh, I'm basal testing or I'm intermittent fasting. I don't care if your personal trainer told you to intermittent fast and you can't eat until 3 p.m. If you're going low, eat something. This is more important. And better yet, this gives you an idea that your basal may be a little bit too high. Now, on the other side, if you notice, let's say you started at 110. If it starts climbing about 2 hours after you would have normally had your food, you know your basal rates are too low. And also in that same thing, if you're, oh, I have to be in intermittent fasting until 3 p.m. and you start going high, you should probably give an insulin correction and maybe consider adjusting your basal rates. Now, of course, I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling you to adjust your basal rates. I'm telling you what I would do. But definitely talk to your doctors if you are looking into changing around your basal rates, because that's something that you should look into. I actually need to get going soon, but I would love to keep doing this. I'm going to start. I mean, you guys have been awesome keeping the comment section alive, so I'm going to make this a thing. I'm going to start scheduling this. If you guys are not already following us on Instagram and on Facebook, look us up, FTF Warrior. I'll be posting on there and scheduling more of these live Q&As because this is really cool. And I will try to get to these questions later. I'm going to come in and type out the answers, but please, please, please keep coming back and asking questions. Make these fun, and we'll dive into it. So thank you guys. It's been a blast chatting with you. I am so happy that so many of you jumped on here, and I'm excited to make this a thing. So have an awesome day, and always remember to keep up the fight.